Are you getting ready to give this Fat Quarter Shop's June Sew Sampler a try? This peach preserve pattern is so cute. I'm so excited to sew it out with you. There are a couple of little hiccups, little things I wanted to warn you guys about. So hop on over to my channel. I'll show you all of the tips and tricks and even a few of the mistakes that I made. Hey guys, welcome back to my sewing room. I'm Kelly and you found me on Pick and Stitches, and today we're going to be working on the Fat Quarter Shop Sew Sampler for June. I am so excited about this quilt. I've been kind of asking, are you team bubblegum or team pink? I couldn't decide what background I was going to do, but I've finally gotten all my stuff together and I want to walk you through all the steps, step by step. There's a couple of little things that are a little bit tricky, and I have to admit, you know, it wouldn't be my channel if I didn't show you some of the mistakes that I've made, and hopefully that helps you not make those mistakes as well. So let's jump right on in and I'll show you what we did. But first of all, I always have to kind of take a step back and just admire the beauty of that jelly roll. And the other thing I like to do, this is just a sticky lint roller, and I'm going to get this to a clean sheet so you can see what it looks like start to finish. Sorry for all that creaking. So I'm just going to roll that across these pinked edges. And as you can see, it is picking up a ton of stuff. And I'm going to do that until it's totally full, and then I'm going to get another one because I promise you, yeah, there's no more sticky. This stuff goes all over the place. So I'm almost going to need a new lint roller. And I'm kind of pressing into it because I want to get in those grooves, especially here in the middle where that's so tight. And you can do it again once you open it, but as soon as you open it, heck, before you open it, it'll start to explode everywhere. All right, so that one's full. All right, I think it's finally starting to slow down. I think that was like 5 sheets. It is serious. Yeah, look at the difference between this side and that side. Crazy. And I don't really mind it going out where I have to vacuum it out of the carpet, but when I start dipping this into the starch, they start to come loose, and then they're stuck to the front of the fabrics, and then I'm kind of shedding them the entire time I'm working on the project everywhere that I'm going. My ironing board, my floor, my sewing station, it just bugs me. They get all over my design wall. So I love pre-cuts, but there's a little bit of difference when you're working with them. All right, so I think I've gotten most of what's going to come out of this now. And I always like to use it on my table because there's always inevitably flyaways everywhere. So now we can open our beautiful jelly roll. Honey bun. I'm not going to get the right word, am I? Y'all can just laugh at me every time I say it. Somebody should count how many times I say the wrong word in this project because it's going to happen. All right, look at all these beautiful fabrics, you guys. I really like this a lot. I ordered some of that. I'm going to use that as my backing, I think. That's pretty. So I think as we go through these, I'm going to really just try to disperse all of my colors. I had thought about making like all in this kind of cantaloupe color, and then another star in the red, and that would look great as well. But I think I'm going to kind of stick with Scrappy for this one. Let me know in the comments below what you think you're going to do with yours, because I think it would look great either way. But and then we've got the aquas and the mints. I am so super excited about this fabric line, guys. I know it's not even like that new, but I haven't had any, and I'm excited. That would have made a beautiful backing as well. Okay, perfect. Well, I'm super excited about these. I thought there was a teal version of this same floral, but I don't see it in here. Maybe that was a different line I'm thinking of. I think it was a different line. Okay, so I'm going to take these outside and shake them. There will still be a cloud of these pinked edges coming off everywhere. And I promise you, if, you know, go easy, because you can stand outside and shake them so much that your triceps will start to burn and you'll have to switch hands, and the next day you might even be sore. So if you're not accustomed to that kind of physical activity in your sewing room, go slow. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and take these to the sunroom and starch them, and then we will get to sewing and go from there. Okay, so I've grouped all of my fabrics together in groups of 3 so that they'll be really easy to sew out. And I'm just going to strip piece these like I was on a jelly roll race. I did kind of throw these together with the 2 sets of blocks that I was tinkering with. So these are my non-pressed or non-starched ones, and these are the ones I starched. But how cute is that block? I don't know. I think I might have to write a pattern just around this little ruler thing, because I think that is going to be really fun. Anyways, always trying to come up with more work for myself, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up, stitch it out for you guys, because I think it would be quite boring to watch that start to finish. But we're just going to do a 1/4 inch seam, and off to the races we go. Okay guys, so this is going to be a bit of a pressing event here. So I'm going to set my seams. And try to fold that one out of the way. Set this one. And then I'm going to press it open. And I'm actually going to flip it over and just kind of pull it tight. Try to get, come on. I'm going to give it a little pull with my hand just to keep a little bit of tension on it so that it stays nice and open. And then when I get done with this, I'm going to flip it over and just make sure that the other side is nice and open as well. Because occasionally with these jelly rolls, or these are honey buns, it's easy to get a little bit of a pleat if you don't have it pulled all the way open when you're trying to iron more than one seam at a time. And you could come over here between each run on the machine. That just sounds like a lot of work. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over, make sure everything is nice and open. And I kind of tried to really disperse all of these colors. And I don't know if you guys do this too. As I'm putting these together, I kind of like have certain ones that I love and certain ones that I don't. But then once the quilt, like all the little pieces get cut and you mix them all up, like the ones that I didn't love kind of disappear and I don't hate them anymore. And the ones that I loved, maybe I still can pick those out in the quilt. Maybe that's just me trying to look towards the sunny side. I don't know. And I did starch these quite heavily, and you can hear that. You can also hear my steam is going. I just decided to bite the bullet and if I don't have enough, I will dive into my stash and build a couple out in there. I'm just fingers crossed that when I start cutting these, it'll be good. And then you guys will know if I made it happen or if you shouldn't follow me and you should not starch because you're going to run out of room. Sometimes I find if there's a little bit of a wave to it, maybe something didn't quite dry right when it was starched. If I just mist it a little bit and keep it in a straight line and iron it, I can get that to go right away. So we'll let that sit up for just a second longer and then on to the next. So I will fast forward this. I know you guys don't want to sit here and watch every inch of my ironing. Guys, this is the last one, and you know, this is probably one of my favorite, and if you would have told me I like red and lime green and cantaloupe together, I would have thought you were sadly mistaken, but I really like this one. Isn't that so silly? Okay, so we're going to head over to the cutting table, and I'm going to show you how we're going to use our special handy dandy little ruler. So here we have our handy dandy ruler and our honey bun. I'm going to bump this over as absolutely tight as I can that way, and then I'm just going to cut off the end. Now we want to get this little corner, and then this is one of those rotating cutting mats, and it'll just rotate around. And I'll put a link in the description for you guys. This was a less expensive one I got on Amazon, and I like it. I feel like, you know, honestly, there's not a whole lot of clearance between the bottom of it and the mat, but it gets the job done. So that first one you'll need to cut and rotate around like that, and then the rest of these we won't have to rotate. So you don't even really need it. You can live without it. And actually, because this is not, you're worried about fabric moving, you could just spin it around yourself. I just want to get to where I'm using the correct handle. And then we're just going to slice down our entire row. So far, that's 2. And so some of these, I'll have a little bit of this pinking to pull off. Some of them my seam got a little bit fatter and I may not. And we'll just keep right on moving down the line. Now the other solution I have for when I really want something to spin well is I had an old Lazy Susan that I wasn't using, and I just plop my mat down on it and it spins freely. It's got enough clearance that I can get my fingers underneath it. So that's another thing to try if you've got a Lazy Susan sitting around in your house that you haven't got a purpose for. Maybe this could be its new job. And then you can just spin it around and you're good to go. I think this is our 6th one. So we're supposed to get 10 strips out of each one. And if you did 13, that's 130. There's going to be a lot of pieces to this quilt. But I really am excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Oopsie. And then I just moved my ruler. So go figure. Probably shouldn't spin it around by the hand that's holding the ruler down. Okay, so this one worked out a little bit better than that line of Camille's that I tried to do my test run on. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have all 10, and here's what I have left over. So it actually does a really good job of utilizing every little bit. I did get into the selvage a little bit on this one, and I didn't quite have to, but it was kind of close on that other corner. So definitely be super careful as you're doing this. Now I'm going to go cut 130 more of these. Okay guys, and I want to park this right here for you. While you're cutting your strip set, you're going to want to use your Creative Grids ruler in the same orientation every single time. In the book, they show it oriented with your 1.5 inch measurement going this way. And so as you're cutting across your strip, you're going to keep it oriented that way. Make sure when you switch to your other strip that you don't change it and come across it this way. Because when you do that, you get a different shape. So I've got a couple examples here. Here I've got my diamond going this way, and as I pointed them across, I get that shape parallelogram with the angles distributed in that fashion. Ask me why I know. So this one I cut with the ruler flip-flop. And no matter what I do, I can't turn the ruler so that it's that way without changing where my long side and my 3 pieces are. So it's kind of like when you make a half square triangle pinwheel and like one of your colors is flip-flopped. If you make it by itself and it's all in the same pattern, it's totally fine. But if I try to mix match it with one of the ones that's going the other way, now all of a sudden my long stripe is touching my long stripe. And no matter what I do, I can't get my 3 sides to touch it. Like here I've got a solid and 3 pieces, a solid and 3 pieces. So if you cut them the other way, they'll look fine if you did that for all of them. But if you don't do that, if you have some that go one way and some that go the other way, your stars aren't going to quite line up. So I hope I can save you a little bit of heartache on that front. So as we're orienting them, just to reiterate, if you want to follow exactly like the pattern, you'll see it oriented this way, and then we'll take our slices and we'll go all the way down the row. And what I found was on that one, for whatever reason, I must have flip-flopped my ruler and I went the whole way down, and I want to save you guys that heartache. So now we have all of our different shapes, or all of our pieces cut out. Okay, so our stars are going to look something like this. The quilt pattern that we got and the finishing kit coming in from Fat Quarter Shop is going to have this color, which I think it's called like a bubble gum. Now keep in mind, these aren't exactly right, but here's what I'm trying to decide. This is just a Lori Holt that I picked up out of my stash. Like, do I want to go with the pink backgrounds? And again, that color is not right. Well, this is not a good example. If I want to go with that peachy background, like it's listed on the front here, so it has kind of a real pink feel, or if I want to go with something that's a little bit more teal. So then my background would be kind of this teal color instead of pulling it so pink. I don't know, I can't decide. Lay out the first section of what it shows us. So I've got 3 of my diamond shapes, and then I'm going to take 3 of my triangles, and on the diagram it has the bias and the straight listed. So we're going to put our bias next to this and our bias next to this, And then here, the bias is going to go pointed towards the middle. So you just want to make sure that you get all of those oriented right. And then what we're going to do is take these over to the machine, and I'm going to put these on a design board and transfer them over for us. But I wanted to give you a nice upright shot so you could see how they're oriented. And if you had cut some incorrectly, it is really easy to look at it and think it fits. But you see how my 3 stripes is where the solid should be? And if I put it here, it's the same thing. Solid where it should be 3 pieces. And if I put it here, it's solid where it should be 3 pieces. And at the end of the day, if you cut some incorrectly, I bet you can put them in your quilt. And unless you're taking it to a quilt show, you're probably going to be the only person that notices it. But if you're a perfectionist, do pay attention to that because that's an important detail. Hey guys, I'm going to try a new camera setup. For this particular block, we're going to be doing quite a lot of ironing, and so I wanted to make sure that I wasn't having to cut a bunch of stuff back together. So we're going to just do this part first across the top. So I'm going to take my right side triangle, flip it up, and because we cut those notches with the rulers, this lines up so easily, guys. All right, so then we're just going to sew a 1/4 inch seam. And then press it open. And then I have to put it back on the design board because my brain just doesn't understand this pattern unless I see it. So now that I'm back on the design board, I'm going to put this across there and sew it on. And I'm just going to set that over there to press with our other one. So now we're going to do the bottom row. I'm going to take this and sew it across the bottom here first. Okay, so we'll press both of those, set the seam, and then press it open. I need to get a clapper. My big stick of a clapper here. Okay. So that's the top part. Now we're going to finish off our bottom part. So I'm going to put it back on that design board because I'm telling you guys, this design is fun and it fits together really nice and easy, but it just doesn't, my brain doesn't think this way. So we will set that seam and press it open. And then I'm going to just leave it under the clapper. I actually have another one that I had already made. So this is going to be our pattern. So we're going to just sew this onto here. Now I found that my corners were kind of difficult, so the polka pin is how I had the best success. So you just take your pin and you get in here right in that corner. So you're as close as you can get to that corner and you can look at it from the front. And then I'm going to find it exactly in this corner. Get my pin to stand up perpendicular so that it's not angled off to the side. And I'm not so worried about the ends just yet. I'm just getting that corner to align. And then I like to throw 2 pins. I don't know why in this little first section here, that seems to hold it really well. And then my corners have come out really nicely. Okay, so then I'm just going to start here, sew all the way down. I don't know why I have my pin cushion back there. Silly. Okay. So then I'm going to set this seam and press it open. And there's going to be our shape. I'm going to go ahead and set the clapper on it and just show you that poke a pin method one more time while that's setting up. So I've got my two pieces. I'm going to flip them together. Oops, I can't remember where I put my pins. So pin in that very top corner right there. Make sure it comes out exactly where I want it to. And then I'm going to poke it directly into this corner, because you see how that one's even a little tighter. My 1/4 inch must have been off, or maybe my cuts were off, but I want to make my corners be on. So once I get that straight, I'll throw my 2 pins in and off we'll go. Take that upright one out so I don't stab myself. So here is that first block, and I'll go ahead and press this one open and get it sitting under the clapper. And I believe we do this 35 more times. Well, no, 35 total times. So we need 35 of these blocks. Let's see. Yes, 35 of this exact style block. And then we're going to work on the other blocks that are going to be more of our outer edge. Okay, so now we're going to make our 2 outer sides. So we're going to make 5 of each of these patterns. So I have my half triangle. This is the one that is the right side if it were upright. And I've got the long side against my long stripe on this. So we're going to sew those 2 first. And if you go to flip these over and it doesn't fit, go back to your pattern and double check. You might not have it oriented the right way because it kind of felt backwards to me when I first laid it out. All right, so we'll press that. And while that's sitting for just a second, I'm going to do this other part. I'm going to attach this to this. So that should fit perfectly again. If it's not lining up just right, double check your measurements, double check your orientation. Press this guy. All right, so to get this back the way it is oriented in the pattern, just to keep things simple, I'm going to line it up this way. So this is going to be like the outer edge of our quilt. So that should appear pretty straight. And then this next one, we're going to put the triangle towards the middle. So as you're doing this, that's what it's going to look like. So it's almost like a hook that you're going to do. So we're going to do 5 of these hooks that point this way, and then we'll do 5 of the hooks that point the other way. See, and I just confused myself as I held it in my hand. That is why I always double check. Okay, so it's going to kind of do that. Set that seam and then press it open. So again, we're going to do 5 for each side. I can't remember if this is the right side or the left side, but I'm going to set that up and we'll do 1 for the other side just because it's going to feel different. So we've got our, if you stood it upright, the other side of the triangle, and we're going to attach it in the same way. I'm going to do this one onto here and sew it down. I'm going to go ahead and do step number 2 while we're here. So again, I'm just going to flip this up and sew along those 3. Okay, so this hook is finished. Let me get you a design board so you can see it. So we're going to make 5 of these, and then this was the other side. I'm going to go ahead and press. Okay, I'll set it back on my design board. Okay, and just to keep the spirit of things, this is how we had it oriented so that it still feels the same. Now I'm just going to flip this over and sew it on that length. Okay guys, so those are the 3 blocks that we're going to need to finish our top. So we're going to have 1 hook, or like right facing, 1 left facing, and we're going to have 5 of each of those. Then we're going to have 35 of the center big triangle. And after we get all those made, I'm going to go ahead and put it up on the design wall and talk to you guys about how we're going to put it together. Okay guys, this is a wrap on the quilt. I've got the entire quilt face put together. I don't know why on earth I started building this way up here on my design wall. I guess I thought it was going to be a lot longer. Anyways, I could not be more pleased with this quilt. It actually wasn't too bad. It took a little bit longer to cut out than using a straight rotary cutter for sure, and a straight ruler, but it was fun. And so I've got all of my pieces all up here organized, ready to put together, but I just didn't think that I was going to be able to get to this before the weekend. And since this video contained a couple of mistakes that I'm hoping I can help keep you guys from making, I wanted to go ahead and publish it so that you would see it before everybody worked on theirs for the long weekend. So I really hope this helped. If you like these tutorials and my unboxing videos, definitely hit that like and subscribe. Let me know what you want to see next. I'm going to be doing another video on the finishing for this, on how I get all the rows together, what we do on the backing and the binding and labels and all of that good stuff, just like I normally do. But for right now, I just wanted to make sure you guys got to see what we had done so far before the holiday weekend. I hope you guys all have a lovely 4th, and I will see you next time.